Welcome to UIN. I'm Ebony Elizabeth, along with Alexander Caden and Brooklyn Alexander. During a conversation with ex-members of his administration, former President Barack Obama harshly criticized President Donald Trump's handling of the coronavirus pandemic, calling it an absolute chaotic disaster. Obama also reacted to the Justice Department's dropping its criminal case against Trump's first national security advisor, Michael Flynn, saying he worried that the basic understanding of the rule of law was at risk. UIN continues with more news with Alexander Caden.
Tropical storm Arthur crawled closer to the North Carolina coast amid threats of some minor flooding and rough seas as the system moves off the southeast seaboard of the United States. Arthur formed in waters off of Florida, marking the 6th straight year that a named storm has developed before the official June 1st start of the Atlantic hurricane season. New York churches have opened COVID-19 testing sites in a push to reach minority communities. The churches are being used as temporary coronavirus testing centers in an effort to bolster outreach to Black and Latino neighborhoods.
We're hoping that this encourages other people in our community. Why? Because the Black and brown community is the epicenter of the epicenter.
Magic Johnson has secured $100 million for minority-owned companies as the government bails Black and Latino small business owners. Johnson called on one of his companies to help announce more than $100 million in loans specifically for minority and women-owned businesses in underserved communities whose applications for the Small Business Administration's Paycheck Protection Program was not accepted. President Trump spoke about former President Barack Obama, calling him an incompetent president after Obama appeared to criticize Trump's response to the coronavirus crisis.
This pandemic has finally torn back the curtain on the idea that so many of the folks in charge know what they're doing. A lot of them aren't even pretending to be in charge.
Asked about Obama's remarks, Trump told reporters on the White House lawn that he didn't hear it before proceeding to bash his predecessor as grossly incompetent. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said he's mistaken in claiming that the Obama administration had failed to leave a pandemic playbook for the Trump White House because they did. The 69-page document contained hundreds of recommendations for dealing with many of the problems plaguing the nation's coronavirus response, from shortages of personal protective equipment to the need for unified public guidance on the crisis. Howard University is stepping up to ensure that vulnerable groups in Washington, D.C. have access to adequate testing and resources amid the public health crisis. The historically Black university recently opened a free COVID-19 testing site to provide health care for individuals living in underserved communities. A lawsuit has been filed by a Black Kentucky family against the city of Louisville and its police department. Brooklyn Alexander has more. Brooklyn?
The family of Breonna Taylor, the EMT worker shot and killed by Louisville, Kentucky police while executing an erroneous search warrant, has filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the police department. According to the suit, Taylor and her boyfriend were asleep in bed when police entered the home. Thinking they were burglars, the boyfriend began shooting, police returned fire, and Breonna was killed. Police later discovered they had entered the wrong address. Ben Crump is the family's attorney, and he also represents the family of Ahmaud Arbery. More than 60 current and former NFL players and coaches have signed a letter asking Attorney General William Barr to use the full force of the federal law to investigate the Ahmaud Arbery fatal shooting case. The letter comes from the Players Coalition, a social justice group founded by NFL star Malcolm Jenkins and retired wide receiver Anquan Boldin. Former Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, now with Tampa Bay, is a member of the Players Coalition as well.
The country is taking a census. The 2020 census is a population count of every person living in the United States and its 5 territories as of April 1st. Households across the country have begun receiving invitations to respond to the census. Results of the 2020 census will shape how billions of dollars in federal funds are allocated to communities for critical public services such as healthcare, education, infrastructure, and public safety. The results of the census also determines the number of seats each state will have in the U.S. House of Representatives and are used to draw congressional and state legislative districts. The 2020 census will be the 24th time the nation has counted its population, and it'll be the first time everyone can respond online, by phone, or by mail. If you'd like more information on the census, visit the website 2020census.gov. UITVN continues after this.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease expert, is warning Congress that if the country reopens too soon during the pandemic, it will result in needless suffering and death. Fauci was among the health experts testifying to a Senate panel. His testimony comes as President Trump is praising states that are reopening after the prolonged lockdown aimed at controlling the virus's spread. Nearly 3 million laid-off workers applied for U.S. unemployment benefits last week, as the viral outbreak led more companies to slash jobs, even though most states have begun to let some businesses reopen under certain circumstances.
A black Oklahoma delivery driver who was blocked from leaving a neighborhood by a white man identifying himself as the Homeowner Association president said he felt the incident was racially motivated. Travis Miller, a furniture and home appliance delivery driver, was finishing a drop-off when a white man blocked him with his car and demanded to know what he was doing. The man, who identified himself as HOA President David Stewart, said it was his business to know why Miller was on the private property.
Thanks for watching UITVN. For more information for and about people of color, visit our website at uinews.net. I'm Ebony Elizabeth.